This mini lesson is about 7.NS.3 and 7.EE.3, and both of these deal heavily with word problems. This standard focuses on adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing problems. It can focus on having different signs, positives and negatives. Problem number 1, Karen is waiting for a pot of soup to cool off before serving it. After 4 3/4 minutes, the soup has cooled from 100 degrees Celsius to 78 degrees Celsius. What was the average change in temperature each minute? So you're looking at the change per minute. It's also called a unit rate. So we're going to find what the total change was. From 100 to 78 degrees, it went down 22 degrees Celsius. So it went down 22 degrees Celsius, and that was over a span of time of 4 3/4 minutes. So let's divide by 4 3/4. So that's the same thing as saying negative 22 divided by 4.75. And we get about negative 4.6, approximately 4.6 degrees Celsius. So that was the average drop in temperature each minute. Number 3, John plays a board game with his family. He keeps track of how many tokens he has won and lost during the game, and we can see that in the table. If John started the game with 5 tokens, how many tokens does he have left for round 5? So he starts with 5 tokens. So let's just think about this. He has 5. That's what he starts with. And after round 1, when you subtract 2, that equals 3 tokens. And then that 3 plus 5 equals 8 tokens. That 8 minus 3 equals 5 tokens. That 5 plus 7 equals 12 tokens, and then he goes into round 5 with those 12 tokens. Number 8, Pam drives on the highway averaging 54.5 miles per hour for 3 hours. She then turns off the highway onto a smaller route where she drives an average of 34.25 miles per hour for another 3 hours. How far has she driven after 6 hours? So she is averaging 54.5 miles per hour for 3 hours. So if we take that 54.5 miles per hour for 3 hours, and we just multiply it by 3 because that's the distance she would travel in 3 hours, we could find her highway miles. And then let's go over here and take 34.25 miles per hour times 3 hours, and that'll be the miles that she's driven on that smaller road, and we'll add these together. Remember, 54.5 could be changed to 54.5 as a decimal times 3. 54.5 times 3 comes out to 163.5. And then 34.25 could be changed to the decimal 34.25 times 3. It comes out to 102.75. Then we just add them. We get 266.25 miles. That's how much she's driven in those total 6 hours. Our next standard is 7.EE.3, and this is going to focus heavily on word problems, especially word problems where you might set up an expression to solve it. We're going to look at problem number 1 to start off. It says the perimeter of a room is 43 feet. The width is 9.5 feet. What's the length? So we might go back and think of how we calculate perimeter. The perimeter of a room, and it doesn't tell us specifically, but we're assuming that this is a rectangle. And so the perimeter of a rectangle would be length plus width, and we usually just simplify this down to twice the length plus twice the width. So let's plug in what we know. The perimeter is 43. We don't know the length, but we do know the width is 9.5. And notice this is actually an equation we're setting up, and we're going to solve for L, the length. So I'm just going to go through and do some simplifying. 9.5 is just 9.5 times 2 would be 19. I want to get this term 2L by itself, so I'm going to subtract 19 from both sides. And we get 43 minus 19 is 24, equal twice the length. So twice the length is 24, so when we divide by 2 to find out what the length actually is, we get that the length is 12. Number 3. Troy spends $9.75 on chicken feed each week. He has 48 chickens, and each chicken lays 1 egg a day. At the end of the week, Troy keeps 1 dozen eggs for himself and sells the rest at the farmer's market for $4 a dozen. What is Troy's weekly profit? There's a lot going on in this problem, so let's see what his profit would be. It says he has 48 chickens, and each chicken lays 1 egg a day. At the end of the week, Troy keeps a dozen for himself and sells the rest. So let's just start there in the middle of this problem. To me, that's the part that I could determine first. So all 48 chickens are laying 1 egg a day. So we got 48 eggs a day, and it's for a week. So there's 7 days. And that will tell us how many eggs he has total in a week. But he keeps 1 dozen for himself. So let's subtract a dozen and find out how much money that is. So 48 times 7 is 336, minus 12 is 324 eggs. That's what he sells. He makes $4 a dozen, so let's divide that by 12 to get how many dozen that is. So he has 27 dozen. Now with that 27 dozen, he makes $4 a dozen, but he did spend $9.75 on chicken feed. So let's take that 27 and multiply by $4 and then subtract $9.75. So he would actually make $108 on the eggs for selling them, but he's got to subtract $9.75 from that amount, and he has a total of $98.25 profit that he makes. Number 7, Jeremiah buys 3 pounds of cheese at $3.50 per pound. He also buys 5 pounds of turkey. He spends $46.75 in total for the cheese and turkey. What's the price per pound of sliced turkey? Okay, well, we know that this $46.75 is made up of 3 pounds of cheese that each cost $3.50 per pound, plus 5 pounds of turkey, and we don't know what their cost is per pound. let's call it X. And in total, those add up to $46.75. So let's find X, the cost per pound of turkey. So 3 times $3.50 would be $10.50 is the cost of the cheese. Plus, we just know that 5 times X price per pound of turkey would be the price of all the turkey, equals $46.75. If we subtract $10.50 from both sides, what that will tell us is that the 5 pounds of turkey equal $36.25. That's all the price of the turkey. And since we know the price for all of the turkey and we want to find out the price for 1 pound, we'll divide by the number of pounds, 5, to get X. So X is $7.25. So that is the price per pound of turkey.